Well, good morning, board. I'm just for the public and the folks online. I'm Whittlesey. I'm the general manager of Yuba Water Agency. And like Chairman Bishop said, on Friday we had a significant incident with our Colgate penstock. We had a major failure, caused damage and impacts to staff, contractors, other personnel. And I'm here today to describe that incident and describe our response to that incident and how we plan to move forward. But first, I'm hoping that I come across positive and encouraging, and I believe that I will, and that's primarily due to the fact that we did have one contractor that was seriously injured, and I was able to visit with that contractor yesterday. He wants his privacy to be respected, but he did give me permission to say that he is alert and in great spirits. That has caused me a shift in my mentality, and I think it's caused a shift in the entire staff's mentality that yes, we had employees and contractors that did have minor injuries, both physical, mental, and emotional, and we will get through those. We will work with staff to get through those and the contractors to get through those. But the fact that this significant injury, this contractor that sustained significant injuries is alert and in good spirits is wonderful. And it will allow us to align and move forward. I would like to be able to say more about that situation, but he would like his privacy respected. So I preface this with some positivity because I don't think it's misplaced. I think it's positivity because we are turning the corner in this incident and we're going to start looking to a plan of recovery. With that, I will move into the presentation. So yes, we had a major incident, and the initial response was wonderful. I need to thank our first responders, and I have a list that I am personally aware of. This is not going to be an all-inclusive list. If I miss a first responder group, person, individual, I apologize. I know there were many more people on site responding to this than I'm going to list here, but thank you to CAL FIRE, California Highway Patrol, Yuba County Sheriff, Dobbins Organ House Fire, Bi-County Ambulance, and countless others. It was an amazing response, and I would like to thank this board of directors. I have talked to many of you. Some of you visited with staff on Saturday, and the encouragement we got from you was great. We know that we have your support. And then others of you refrained from contacting me directly because you knew what was happening in the chaos that was ensuing. So also thank you for that. So as most are aware, the Yuba Water Agency was created primarily for flood risk reduction and water supply. I want everyone to know, including the public, especially in light of the storms we have coming in, that the incident was not related to our flood control dam, New Bullards Bar. New Bullards Bar Dam is fully intact and operational. We will continue to manage our flood risk reduction program in collaboration with Army Corps of Engineers and the Department of Water Resources like normal. The incident site is 5 miles downstream of New Bullards Bar Dam and had no impact on the dam itself. The spillway at New Bullards Bar Dam is fully operational, and the day-to-day operations will go on unchanged. Okay, I'd like to give a little background on what the agency was doing the last several months. This board knows we had a major capital infrastructure project going on related to our tunnel and penstock. In early October, we drained the tunnel in preparation for this work. This is a project that has been ongoing for many years. It's one of the most significant projects we've undertaken in many years, and it was primarily an infrastructure improvement project related to our penstock and also maintenance related to the tunnel and related infrastructure. And I would like to explained that the incident occurred at the tail end of that project. We were in the process of restoring the facilities to service. We were operating to restore facilities in preparation for return to service testing. So generators had not been online, electrical equipment had not been tested. We were in the preparation of that testing. That's where we were when the incident happened on Friday afternoon. So here's a timeline on this slide. I'm not going to read through it. I am going to explain what occurred on Friday. Just before 3 p.m., there was a rupture of the penstock. An estimated 400 acre-feet was released from the penstock on the slope downstream and into the Yuba River downstream of Colgate Powerhouse and into Englebright Reservoir, which is a short distance from Colgate Powerhouse downstream. There was significant damage to the site. The primary damage is due to the volume of water that was quickly discharged onto the hillside, eroding the hillside. This is a hillside that is not intended to take that volume of water. The sediment made its way into natural water courses that are designed for the seasonal precipitation we get, but aren't designed for this type of flow, obviously. You see there on the picture the sedimentation at the site. It's significant. Some of that sediment has made its way down into Englebright Reservoir along with hazardous debris. But I will say that the incident did not pose a risk of flooding. 400 acre-feet is a relatively small volume of water when you look at our flood control system and you look at the operational storage at Englebright Reservoir downstream of the incident. This is preliminary data, but Englebright Reservoir increased 0.6 feet, so just over 1/2 of a foot as a result of this. Englebright Reservoir easily captured the inflow resulting from this release.
After a major pipeline burst in Yuba County. Live Copter 3 flew over the Colgate Powerhouse on the Yuba River. Initially, the rupture flooded the building, and then the rushing water washed out a large section of that hillside. That erosion created a lot more damage in the area. According to the Dobbins, Oregon House Fire Department, 5 people were stranded. They had to be rescued. Tonight, we're told all of the workers are accounted for. At least one person was taken to the hospital.
Now, officials say that the road into the powerhouse is still closed from all the water and the mud that came crashing down. There are still a lot of questions also about what caused that pipe to burst. The Yuba Water Agency says that there was a major failure at their penstock. That's the pipeline after 3 this afternoon. Again, it's a mile-long set of pipe that carries the water from the new Bullards Bar Reservoir down to the Colgate Powerhouse. The Yuba Water Agency is also assuring people in that area that the new Bullards Bar Dam is safe and is not impacted.
So I'll just say that that news clip is one of many. That is an accurate news clip. The one thing I would point out there, or 2 things I'd point out that was on the slide, and I've said this earlier, there isn't a result or a risk of flooding due to this incident, and also access to the powerhouse is prohibited at this time due to the incident. That is one of the major efforts we will undertake in the next few days, is gaining access to the site. A lot of what I'm reporting here is just information I'm gathering from aerial flyovers. We have not visited a majority of the site. We do have our geologic consultants on site. They began work on Saturday. Their goal is to assess the site, not specifically for a recovery plan, but more for site safety. We know that we need to get additional engineering teams and our team on site to assess the damage, but we need to make sure that the site is safe to access. When you have that type of an abnormal flow event on a hillside like that, the conditions change and you don't know exactly what hazards remain. With the picture you have on the screen there, you can see our penstock. That's the large diameter pipe in the picture there. You can see a separation of the penstock in the middle right part of the screen there. We don't know if that piece of and this is just an example, but we don't know if that piece of penstock is stable. We don't know if you should be within a couple hundred feet of that piece. And that's one example of the types of things we need to assess so that we can understand what we need to do or what we may need to do to make the site safe, just to do an assessment for restoration. I would also remind the public of this condition. We do have security out on the site to keep the public from trying to access the site. This is currently a hazardous site, and we would encourage the public not to try to access the area. As we learn more about this incident, we will update our website, yubawater.org, and our Facebook page. And I will very likely be at this podium updating you at every board meeting for many months. This is a helicopter flyover from Saturday. That there is the primary incident location, and you can see the erosion on the hillside. And this is the lower Yuba River just downstream of Colgate Powerhouse. That is Colgate Powerhouse that the camera is zooming in on right now. Okay, I just wanted to show a general aerial photo of the primary impact area. I'll start at the top of the screen. Give me a second here. Okay, that's better. So at the top of the screen there, you can see where the penstock, the large diameter pipe, comes out of the mountainside. That's the transition from our tunnel that goes from New Bullards Bar Dam down to the Colgate Powerhouse. It's about a 4.5 mile long tunnel, and that's the transition from tunnel to metal pipe. The incident started at that transition area, and the first, I would say, 20% of distance from the top, making your way downstream, is one of the primary impact areas. That's where water began to discharge on the hillside. That's where the penstock is visually separated. There's pieces of penstock laying on the ground. They should be up on concrete supports. That's where the major erosion started. The path of water kind of split and went two directions. The penstock kind of follows a ridge line down the hill, and water was discharged on both in this screen, the left side and the right side of the penstock ridge line. And down at the powerhouse, so in the lower part of the screen, you see two circular facilities. Those are the Colgate generators. They're kind of at the bottom left. There's a major discharge area on the left side, or the downstream side of Colgate Powerhouse there. And there's a major discharge on the right side of your screen, lower right side of your screen, impacting Yuba Water Agency and Pacific Gas and Electric facilities. Before I move off this slide, I will tell you that the Army Corps' Englebright Reservoir is downstream, or if you follow this picture to your left, it's downstream between 1 and 1.5 miles, depending on the elevation of Englebright Reservoir at the time. Okay, so here's just another view. This is a view opposite of the view I just showed. On the bottom left in the screen, that's the penstock transition from the tunnel to the penstock. You can see a breached piece of penstock shortly after it comes out of the mountainside, and then a few hundred feet downstream of that, or downhill from that, you can see a piece of penstock that is separated. I described this in the previous slide as the primary or beginning impact area. You can see here that water flowed to your right in the screen down into a natural waterway, and then also to the left on your screen, it's kind of center screen here, and impacted that natural ravine. It's obvious by looking at the picture, especially the channel on the left, that natural water course was not designed or what couldn't handle that volume of flow, and you can see the scarps there. That is the type of stuff that these geological consultants are actually assessing right now to ensure that, or basically identify where it is safe to access so we can start developing a recovery plan. With this slide, I will remind everyone that New Bullard's Bar, in the previous slide I talked about where Englebright was, in this slide I will let you know where our reservoir, New Bullard's Bar, is. It is about 4.5 miles upstream, or to the left in this picture, of that transition from the tunnel to the penstock. And I'll remind everyone at this point that there was no impact to our flood control reservoir, New Bullard's Bar. So this is an aerial photo taken from a helicopter on Saturday morning. We immediately contacted our helicopter company that we contract with for work in the watershed. They showed up on Saturday. We knew that we had incoming weather late Sunday, and Saturday was a good weather day, and it was a good day to get a chance to fly the site and assess the condition for ourselves. We all had seen the news media video from Friday evening, so we had a good understanding of what we were up against. And the reality is the news media provided us the most information. We weren't able to access the site. Once we got everyone accounted for and safe and out of the site, the information we were operating from Friday evening and into Saturday morning was news media coverage information. That allowed us to understand the magnitude of the impact and start planning for the next day's geological assessment and the next day's river cleanup efforts. Additionally, on Saturday, you can see the turbid water, or I'll just call it the muddy water there. This is a picture of, it's not the river, this is Englebright Reservoir. Englebright Reservoir is a long, narrow, canyon-like reservoir. That is the surface of Englebright Reservoir near the transition from reservoir to river upstream. And you can see the turbid water there. On Saturday, we had an environmental cleanup consultant on site, and they deployed debris booms and oil booms on the reservoir. And our effort there was to contain the debris into the smallest area possible to mitigate the cleanup efforts and to remove any materials we possibly could starting Saturday morning. We were effective in doing both, containing the debris, or the initial containment of the debris, and removing of materials. That effort started on Saturday. And that was both Yuba Water Agency staff and our environmental cleanup contractor. On Sunday, California Department of Fish and Wildlife showed up. Oh, let me just say this, interject on the previous slide. Late Friday and into early Saturday, we were making all of our regulatory notifications of the incident. One of those notifications is related to the release of materials into the downstream river and reservoir. That initiates a process with many resource agencies, including the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. They responded quickly. They were at our facility in Oregon House early on Sunday, and we were able to explain to them what we knew of the event and what our efforts were on Saturday to try to mitigate the release of materials and coordinate visit and work between California Department of Fish and Wildlife, Yuba Water Agency, and an environmental consultant that was underway on Englebright Reservoir. They were able to make their way to Englebright Reservoir mid-morning on Sunday and assist us in our ever-evolving planning efforts once we knew what the impact size was and what type of materials we were up against. I do want to thank the California Department of Fish and Wildlife for coming out on site in person and helping us coordinate those efforts. We are working well with them. I'll move on to Sunday. Sunday, that effort with CAL FIRE and our environmental contractor continued. By Sunday afternoon, we were discussing how to manage this from an incident command system process, and we entered into unified command with California Department of Fish and Wildlife. In addition to working on the stretch of river and Englebright Reservoir downstream of Colgate. We're also working with CDFW on impacts to the lower Yuba River downstream of Englebright Reservoir. These efforts will continue. They're ongoing yesterday, which would have been Monday, and today, and will be ongoing for several days. We've hired an additional environmental contractor to help us with the further removal of that debris from Englebright Reservoir, and to ensure that we can contain that debris during the increased flows we're now experiencing with these storms that have come in. We're anticipating these storms will last a week or more. There isn't a major pulse of warm tropical weather coming in. This is a cold set of storms. There is significant precipitation, but the benefit we have with these storms coming in is that they're cold, and most of the precipitation will be in the form of snow, and that won't cause a flood risk runoff, or even a runoff that peaks that's unmanageable on the surface of Englebright Reservoir. We very likely will, the storms very likely will cause Englebright Reservoir to spill, but it won't spill. It is not anticipated to spill until Monday, so a week from yesterday. That'll give us several days to shore up our containment efforts and try to clean that up prior to the spill event. And if we aren't able to clean it up prior to the spill event, we will at least have it contained in some manner that is robust and can weather the spill event. Okay, I have a couple slides here related to media coverage. It's not intended that you can read every word on this slide. It's just intended to show you that there has been significant media coverage, and I would like to compliment the media and social media that it was 99% accurate. And I would also like to thank people that have been aware of Yuba Water Agency and Yuba Water Agency's efforts over the last several years. One of my duties charged by this board is to ensure that our community and the general public is aware of Yuba Water Agency and our efforts. And we're very transparent under normal operations, and we intended to be transparent during this incident. So our goal was to get the information we knew was accurate out into the public, but also refrain from any speculation or conjecture of what's going on. There were some, unfortunately this happens on social media, there were some inaccuracies or speculation as to even who owned our facility and who was at risk, and some deficiency in management. And I want to thank the folks that in our community that responded accurately to those kind of inaccuracies online and squared away people as to how this agency operates and what we do and what our mission is, and the efforts Yuba Water Agency has put forward the past several years under this board's leadership, and also how we were responding to the incident itself. There were also some local podcasts that did a fairly good job of covering the incident. And we're just grateful for the accuracy of what we have seen in the media up to this point. At this time, I want to thank our communications team. This board has authorized me to staff up a communications team to get to the public in an effort of transparency everything that Yuba Water Agency does. And we do that. Most of the items that we push out in the media are positive and intended to benefit the river, benefit the community, and benefit the people of Yuba County. But we also prepare for the crisis. And in times of crisis, your message is different, and we want it to be accurate. And I want to thank our comms team for doing so. I don't think we could have had a better media response or communications response than we had over the last several days. And that is 24/7, that is ongoing, and it will continue for the duration of this incident. This slide is just another example, and again, it's not intended for you to read it itself, of the types of comments and responses again, this is just a thank you to the people that have been tracking what Yuba Water Agency does as our routine business and making accurate the descriptions they're seeing online. So you know who you are out there. You're probably listening online right now. I want to thank you for that. Okay, now I will talk about our staff. It never fails. These incidents happen in inopportune times. This happened on a Friday afternoon of a 3-day weekend, and the weather was good. Our staff that have children that are out of school or planning long weekends away, some were unavailable and out of the state or out of the country. Others who were available responded, and the response was amazing. When I showed up at our power systems facility in Oregon House right before 4 p.m. on Friday afternoon, it was staffed and things were happening. Chairman Bishop mentioned, he didn't know what to expect when he showed up on Saturday morning. I didn't know if I was going to be the only person in the office or, what was going on. We didn't know where people were or what was happening, but we had a staff of folks that were working with the emergency responders and were immediately in our, emergency action mode. We train for this, and we go through crisis training annually. I don't want to jokingly say we come up with scenarios that are infeasible or would never happen, but we come up with, during those training exercises, things that you never think would happen. And honestly, this is a unique incident. This isn't a dam-related incident. This is an incident that we hadn't specifically trained for, but the response from staff was leverage that training that we go through. And I do want to thank staff for their response, working the long weekend, taking their time away from family, and being engaged and passionate about how to respond to an incident like this. I also want to mention there have been some concern that I'm hearing, not directly, about staffing levels at Yuba Water Agency, and I have let staff know that we need our staff now more than ever. I do not see any decreases in staffing anticipated as a result of this incident. We need our entire team to help recover from this incident. Okay, so this is a major incident at Yuba Water Agency with far-reaching consequences. It's going to be a long road. There is a lot of work to do to analyze the impacts, to assess exactly what needs to be restored. I will remind you that we have not even entered our powerhouses to know the extent of damage inside the area you can see on the screen on the right. It will take days before we can access Colgate Powerhouse and understand what the implications are there. But right now, I will work with this board and our staff to develop a recovery plan. That is going to take several weeks, but the complexion of this agency will change. We're a very resilient agency. We built this project ourselves. The people of Yuba County built this project, and the people of Yuba County, through this board and through the staff that you have built the last several decades, will rebuild these facilities. Things will be different. Our financial position will be impacted by this. I don't have a financial presentation for you today because we don't understand exactly what the work is going to be necessary. Therefore, we don't know exactly what the costs are going to be, and we don't know how long we will be unable to generate hydroelectric generation. I do plan to put a financial status report together over the next several weeks so that this board will be informed in making policy decisions moving forward. It is very likely that our external community grants that we give to special districts, nonprofits, levy districts, water districts in Yuba County will be impacted by this. again, I will get a financial assessment together and make a recommendation of this board on how to manage that going forward. But for those of you in the crowd and online today, Yuba Water Agency's financial position will be impacted, and we will do everything we can to continue those programs for flood control and water supply, and also for habitat restoration type work we've been doing on the lower Yuba River. And just know, partners out there, that we will be in contact with you as quickly as possible when we know more about that situation. This being my last slide, I just want the board and the public to know that I will take every effort I can to manage this crisis and get through this crisis, and as efficiently and cost effectively and as fast as possible. However, and I've already described some of this today, we need to ensure the site safety before we can get an analysis of what our next steps are. But it is my goal to recover from this quickly and efficiently. It is our mantra to be resilient. This agency has been and will be resilient. This isn't our first incident. However, this is a major incident. And I look forward to getting back to generating and powering a brighter future for Yuba County. And with that, I will take any questions from the board.
Thank you, Willie. So we'll start with board questions or comments.
Through the chair, I have a question, Willie, just to clarify for the public. Could you give us the diameter of that pipe? Because in the picture, it looks like a little pipe you could buy at Home Depot. So,
yeah, when I refer to a penstock is a pipe that transports high pressure water to do work. In our case, that work is hydroelectric generation. Director Messick, with your question, I wanted to just let everyone know what a penstock is. And in our instance, that penstock is approximately 14 feet in diameter.
thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to take the time to thank all the staff that spent countless hours trying to escape a bad situation. Then a lot of them came back to work to the table to try to figure out the next steps forward. And I was brought up on Saturday to meet with staff, and before that, I was teaching Friday afternoon, and I got notified of the event. And the first thought is just, all the people that we know there, not just the people that we work with, but, my kids shoot archery with 4-H with a couple of the guys there, their kids, and been through the leadership program with an engineer that works there, is regularly engaged in that work. There's just tons of small connections because we're such a tight-knit community. I saw John posted a message online, kind of echoing those same things. So we're just, more than anything, we're super grateful for all the work you guys put in, and happy that everybody made it out and didn't have any loss of life, and no something we can't live with. But and then on top of that, Saturday, having all the experts sitting at the table, making sure they've done every notification and requirement for the event through all the agencies. It's hard to navigate California, but we had everybody there making sure we were doing the right things, and to see all the damage that went on, and kind of not just run in to get a total assessment, to stop and have experts come in and make sure the side of the mountain's secure. And I know he said the penstock, but with this rain event, you don't really know what more debris is going to come down the side of that mountain. How if we're like a couple inches of rain away from a mudslide or something else. So there's a lot of things to consider. So I'm very happy with the amount of effort that went into trying to fix the environmental issues, keeping the site safe, and moving forward to assessment. So thank you guys, and sorry that to everybody that had to go through all that on site.
Anything further from the board right now? If not, I have a stack of comment cards here that we will get to in public comment coming up, unless you would rather make your comments now. Okay. Think that's enough then, Willie, for now. Item 2 is to determine by a 4/5 vote to continue the Colgate penstock incident emergency under Public Contract Code Section 22050 Subdivision C2. And what this is I'll let Willie explain further, but he was able to, under his authority, declare an emergency on Friday, but need the board's approval to continue that.
Yeah, under instances like this, emergency conditions, we are allowed to forego the public contracting requirements so that we can get to restoration quickly. And we're asking the board to affirm my determination of that emergency condition.
So move.
I'm so moved, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I got a motion from Seth and a second from Rennick. Ready? And we need a roll call vote. Is there any public comment first? I see none. So Mandy, you do a roll call vote.
Director Vasquez,
Yes.
Director House,
Yes.
Director Fuhr,
Yes.
Director Bishop,
Yes.
Director Bradford absent, Director Matthews,
Yes.
Director Messick.
Yes.
Okay. Andrew, tell me here what.
I don't think we're gonna do that.
Okay, we're going to go ahead with the public comments now. And the first one I have is Tom Engler.
Director Bishop, members of the board, Tom Engler, MBK Engineers. Thank you for letting me talk today a little bit. So as the incident was unfolding on Friday, like you all, I was watching it on the news and a lot of people asking me questions. But one thing I told a lot of people is the only thing I was worried about Friday was the safety of the people that were involved in the incident. Once everybody was rescued, I felt a lot better. And I say that because I've been working with the water agency now for 19 years. My entire career, I've been working with Yuba Water. I've seen this agency grow from just a small water delivery and operator in New Bullards all the way up to taking over the power systems. And the team that's been built along the way has been the best and the brightest of every piece of that industry. But more importantly than that, it's been built with the culture, and that culture is that everybody at the water agency, I believe, does the right thing no matter what. So I'm totally confident that as bad as this incident is, it's going to work out in the long run. And with your team, with everybody that's involved, I think that that's easy for me to say. I'm absolutely not worried about any flood issues here. That pipe could run for the rest of the year and only waste a lot of water. We'd never notice it downstream. So it's not a flood issue, but it is definitely a catastrophic issue for Colgate. And I hope for a speedy recovery. And I wish your staff and all your employees Godspeed in the recovery effort. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Tom. Denise Siller.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you. We protect what we love, and for many of us here today, that is our beautiful and wild Yuba River. Good morning. My name is Denise Siller, and I am here as a fourth-generation community member and a longtime educator who cares deeply about this river and the people who steward it. The truth is, I so desperately wanted to help and feel helpless. During this devastating time, the only thing I can do is trust and lift up those who are the protectors and caretakers of our watershed. Water has always been both our community's greatest resource and our greatest challenge. Fortunately, Yuba Water Agency has long been at the heart of both. From its early days, the agency's purpose was rooted in protecting the community through flood risk reduction. Over time, that stewardship has expanded to include water reliability for farmers and agriculture, river and watershed restoration, water and salmon education, and community impact grants that reach far beyond what many people realize. At their core, Yuba Water Agency is here to safeguard both the river and the people who depend on it. Most of that work happens quietly and without recognition, but it matters every single day. What happened is devastating and the impact is real. At the same time, I want to acknowledge the human side of this response. The staff of Yuba Water Agency are so much more than their titles. They are our neighbors, parents, friends, and families. I am deeply grateful to God above and to our first responders that lives were spared. I hope the Yuba Water Agency feels the support of this community as they carry the weight of this moment. No one could have predicted this event, yet this is exactly the kind of situation I want longtime stewards helping to navigate. I trust Yuba Water Agency's continued commitment to restoring balance responsibly and transparently, because stewardship of this river and protection of our community is not just a job for them. It's a calling and a work of heart. I simply want to say thank you and remind each of them that many in this community see their efforts, value their work, and stand with them as we move forward together. God bless you all.
Thank you, Denise. Patrick Maher.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Patrick Maher, and I'm the General Manager for Reclamation District 784. We operate and maintain the levees in South Yuba County along with the internal drainage system. So last Friday afternoon, when I had first heard about the news, what had happened at the new Colgate powerhouse, I was in complete shock, and because of the news that was in the development. This news honestly shook me to my core, mainly because YWA is one of our local partner agencies. And that's a label that they actually gave us a few years back. And we don't carry that name lightly. It just made me think about all the people that we work with. I was telling staff over the weekend that we think of YWA as part of our own team. And so it really shook us when we heard about this. They really mean it when they treat us as a partner. I'm not just talking about how they always invite us to participate in their informational outreach videos and public outreach events to educate the public about flood risk reduction. They take the initiative to reach out and take us under their wing every winter to ensure that not only will RD 784 make it through the tough winters, but all the other LMAs and special districts. What do I mean by that? Mainly things that you probably don't hear about. In fact, I know things you don't hear about. Here's some examples. During a heavy windy rainstorm, 11:30 at night, I was out to a pump station one night, just checking on it, and spread out with the rest of our staff, which is typically how the night goes. And all of a sudden, I get this random text from Wille. And he says, "Hey, Patrick, just letting you know that YWA's got your back. If you need anything, just let us know." Another, for instance, we were assembling levee patrols unexpectedly. You know, as Wille alluded to, things happen at opportune times. And we didn't necessarily have enough staff to assemble enough levee patrols. So I reached out to Ryan McNally, and he says, "Hey, you know, if you need somebody, just let us know, and we'll have them there whenever you need them there." So aside from that, there's the rest of the staff: Sammy, Fallon, Terry, Daly, Kyle, Dee Dee, Vanjie, and many others who regularly make it a point to reach out to ensure that whatever task or project at hand is going to run smoothly, whether it be help with a grant application, an outreach event, or the most recent joint effort with the annual DWR Flood Fight Training Day. I know firsthand from working with YWA's incredible team on RD 784's flood control infrastructure improvements over the years that YWA means serious business when it comes to executing any project or task, no matter how small or large. Maintaining their highest standards has proven their success over the years. So on Saturday last weekend, when I received a call asking if RD 784 had any erosion control materials that we could spare to help stabilize the site, without hesitation, I replied we would, absolutely. And just to kind of echo what you stated, Chair Bishop, when we arrived there on Sunday morning, I wasn't sure what to expect. I thought, well, maybe I'm going to have to look around to find out who's going to unlock the gate. But instead, I walked into the tail end of a briefing of about 30 or 40 experts around a table saying, that's what we're going to do today. And they were just ready to go. So I was really impressed with that. Although I wish this incident had never happened, I immediately felt honored that we'd be able to help out and bring them, you know, this small amount of help. I just want to say, you know, you're strong, you're resilient, you're going to make it through this, and we'll continue to support you. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Leona Harris.
I'm Leona Harris, General Manager of North Yuba Water District. First off, I'd like to say that I commend the whole agency, staff, and everybody on the way this has been handled, the transparency. I live in Dobbins, so it was good to be kept up to date. And secondly, if there's anything that you guys might need, the district or me personally, offer any kind of support or anything that we can do to help. I didn't have anything wrote down, but anyway, we're here to help if you need anything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leona. Kelly McNally.
Good morning, board. I'm Kelly McNally, General Manager, Browns Valley Irrigation District. I want to kind of follow up what Willie said of being positive right now. Your agency has been a huge help and a great partner to BVID, and we're here for you as well. My staff, whatever it is that your agency needs, we are here for you in any way. And I have no doubt that under the guidance of your guidance and also Willie's leadership, that this team is of driven, capable, and very hardworking people will build back better and stronger. One of the other member units said to me, come hell or high water, we're all in this together. And really we are. We're all partners with you. We're all partners in this together. And I know that you guys will build back to have a bigger, stronger facility and continue with your mission and vision of making a prosperous and thriving Yuba County. So we're here for you, and think that you guys are doing a great job. And as Willie said, this is a very resilient agency with great staff and great people. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Mike Felice.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Mike Felice, Hallwood Irrigation. I also represent the member units who are your partners. I would like to say that this board and your staff has been extraordinary in what they've done for Yuba County and what they'll continue to do. I've lived through many floods in my life already. I know some of you on the board have seen some of those same floods. I look at this no different than a flood. It's something that happens, but you have to be resilient, and you have to put it behind you and have to pick up and go on. I look at this as you've been knocked down, but not knocked out. Yuba Water Agency will bounce back. And we wanted to be here today, all your member units, partners, to show our support and unity. And we will get through this. It's going to be tough, and we'll have to pull up our bootstrings a little bit, but it will happen, and we will get back to where we were and beyond. Thank you.